The Houston Astros have yet again done it to the league. As they consistently and seemingly always have done in the past decade, the Astros have yet again found another future star in the league in Hunter Brown. As consistently great organizations that win multiple championships throughout the years do, it is my belief that the Astros are one of the two top teams in Major League Baseball that do these two things better than any other team. One of those two things are the fact that the Astros always seemingly are looking into the future. Not just 1 or 2 years down the road, not even 3 years, but 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years down the road. They're looking at the roster, who's on the payroll, which players are eligible for arbitration. What do we see that player develop into? Whether it be on the starting rotation, the bullpen, the defense, the starting lineup, who can we look at in the free agent market to possibly replace that player for a cheaper contract? What is their defensive and offensive value to this team? Do they bring a veteran presence to the locker room? How fundamentally sound is that player? How high is their baseball IQ? Secondly, the Astros, more than almost any other team, understand when it is time to move off a player. This kind of goes back into what the first part that I was saying. This understanding of when to move off a player is hard for most teams, including some of the best franchises in the entire world. If you look in other sports, teams that have won multiple championships in multiple years, like the New England Patriots in football and the Golden State Warriors in basketball, you see a lot of things in common with those two franchises. But one of the biggest things that they have in common, just like the Astros, is the fact that they can move off a player even if they are worldly talented. The New England Patriots traded Randy Moss in the middle of the 2010 season, had no problem doing it. Got rid of Wes Welker, even Tom Brady. And that's the same thing with the Golden State Warriors. They understood it was time to let Kevin Durant walk, and he walked. They let David West and Andre Iguodala walk. This is the same thing that the Houston Astros have done the past 7 years. Look at guys like Garrett Cole. Look, they knew Garrett Cole was uber talented, but they also understood offering him a contract that the Yankees did, well, it hurt the team severely down the road. So they let him walk, and they put the faith in Lance McCullers, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, and for the most part, it's paid off. Look at Garrett Cole now with the New York Yankees. Sub 3.5 ERA. Still the ace of that team, is still one of the best pitchers in the league, but he's nowhere near what he was in Houston. They allow guys like Carlos Correa to walk. Look at Carlos in Minnesota. Having a good year, but definitely not the year that he was hoping to have to get the contract that he's been wanting. The Astros replaced him with Jeremy Pena, and look how that's turned out for the Astros. Pena has 16 home runs, almost 50 RBIs, batting .250 with almost a 700 OPS. One of the highest defensive WARs out of any player, not just rookies. And he's also one of the top 3 to 5 rookies in the entire league right now. They let George Springer walk in the open market. Although they haven't found an offensive bat to replace Springer's, they found some serviceable guys who play pretty good defense out in center field with Jose Siri, Chas McCormick, and even last year with Jake Myers before he got hurt. Charlie Morton is another good example of this from the 2017-2018 team. Charlie came over and he was struggling, and the Astros unlocked something with inside of him, mainly just taught him a little bit more about spin rate, and he completely transformed his game. But then the Astros let him walk, and they've been just fine without him since. So this brings me to one guy that the Astros just recently called up. And that one guy is Hunter Brown. A lot of Astros fans have known about Hunter Brown as he was the best pitcher down in AAA this year, and we expected that he would be good. But man, after his first start, there's a lot of hype and buzz around him. Against the Texas Rangers Monday, he would go 6 innings pitched, allowed 3 hits, no runs, 5 punchies, and a plethora of groundouts. There was a lot to dissect from Hunter Brown's first start. His fastball topping out at almost 99 miles an hour, dotting corners, doing what he wanted to with it, throwing a 96 mile an hour slider, not just a slider, but a wipeout slider, and then an 85 mile per hour curveball with not as much drop on it as say Framber Valdez or Lance McCullers, but it has some incredible spin on it. There was a lot to like if you were an Astros fan. Since being called up, there's been a lot of speculation as to what is going to happen with Justin Verlander coming this offseason. And if all signs indicate what I think they do, Justin Verlander is probably going to opt out of his contract this season and go seek a bigger one somewhere else. And this is where Hunter Brown comes into play. As a lot of us do growing up idolizing athletes, Hunter Brown grew up idolizing Justin Verlander. And it's not just the fact that Hunter Brown's fastball has almost as much spin and velocity on it as Justin Verlander's did back in his prime, or his sliders hitting the highest velocity recorded this year at 96 miles an hour, or even that his curveball is at 85 miles an hour with an insane spin rate on it. I didn't realize this, but Justin Verlander and Hunter Brown have the exact same windup and release. Even the little toe tap before they start their windup is exact. And so this is literally replacing Justin Verlander with Justin Verlander, just not as tall or lengthy. What's going to be the most interesting part to me about this offseason for the Houston Astros is if Justin Verlander walks, what is Hunter Brown's spot in the rotation next year? Is he the one guy ahead of Fromber? Is he the two guy behind Fromber? The three guy behind Fromber and Lance McCullers? Because his stuff is probably some of the best on the roster. And let me tell you, watching him in person that first start was electric. It was just simply unbelievable how good this kid is at such a young age. And for years to come, I hope so, we'll get to watch him. But this leads me back to my main point of the video. The Houston Astros have done it yet again. They found a top-tier talent to replace another top-tier talent. And they're one of the only organizations that continually do this in sports consistently. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know what you think in the comment section down below. Do y'all think that Hunter Brown is the replacement for Justin Verlander? Do y'all think he's just like him, sort of like him, or not like him at all? Just let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because I have plenty more baseball content like this on my channel. And I'll see you on the next one. Adios, mis amigos.
Hey, thank you for rocking out tonight. You could be anywhere in the world. You're right here. And I got my special guest, Tyler Lee, man.
Yeah, you bringing this all from the Keystone State?
Chilling in the Empire State. So we run the entire state.